welcome you all for the today's webinar, which is on getting started with Google Cloud Platform and its comparison with AWS. So let me start my webinar by asking a question. Why cloud? So I hope all of us here might have ever or sometimes might have heard the word cloud. So cloud would be a word which might be known to everyone, but then it might be not be clear, like why cloud? So to explain this, let me take an example. Consider a traditional e-commerce scenario. There was a retail company which wanted to expand its business. So what they did is they designed the website, they made the app, and then they started giving home delivery services. Everything was working very fine. Now, after some days, this retail company started becoming popular. And because of that, number of customers started increasing. Because since the number of customers started increasing, the problem was started. Their website and their app started crashing. So they wanted to have some solution of a scalability issue started coming up. Now, to solve the problem of scalability, there is a requirement of more number of hardware, more number of servers. So this again started increasing the cost. Also, there was a problem of managing the server. That's not all. Now, once this has started, the security was also an issue. So they required a security of database security, and also they wanted a system which is fast and which is fault tolerant. Now, when I say a fault tolerant, it means a system that has a minimum downtime. Now, what do you think? What should be the solution of all these problems? So if you're thinking the solution of all this problem is cloud computing, then yes, you guessed it right. So cloud computing will solve all the problem by making sure that the following things are taken care. So the utmost care of data security was taken by implementing the stringent policies. It ensured the use of dynamically scalable servers. It also took care by providing with fast computation and remote access to the devices. There was a flexible pricing that also ensured the high cost optimization. So overall, what was the problem that was suffered earlier? Cloud computing solved the problem. Okay. So now, since we have seen why cloud, in the next slide, we are going to see formal definition of a cloud computing. So what is a cloud computing? Cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of the compute power, database storage, applications, and other IT resources. Now, when I say it is an on-demand delivery, it means I require all the compute power, the storage, or the application whenever I need. That it should be on demand. And whenever we say it is an on demand, it has to be done automatically without any human intervention. So without involving a human, all these things need to be done automatically, and there your cloud computing comes up. Okay, so cloud computing delivers all these services through a cloud services platform via the internet. Now, whenever we say a cloud computing, internet is actually required. So internet plays a vital role here. And when we say a cloud computing, it is pay as you go pricing. It means how much you pay depending on, how much you use, based on that you need to pay. So it is based on pay as you go model. Cloud computing is the use of remote servers on the internet to store, to manage, and to process the data rather than the local server or your personal computer. So whenever you make use of a remote servers on the internet or to store, to manage, and to process data, cloud computing comes up. Now I am sure that most of us also use our cloud for the backup purposes, because sometimes we have something in our mind that what if my PC crashes tomorrow? What if my data gets lost? So some of also has used to back up all the data to the cloud, right? So when it comes to the corporates or the companies, cloud computing allows the companies to avoid or to minimize the upfront IT infrastructure cost to keep their application up and running faster with improved manageability and less maintenance. And also it enables the IT teams to adjust resources rapidly to meet the fluctuating and the unpredictable demand. Okay, so it helps everyone when we speak about a cloud computing. So since we are done with the definition of cloud computing, in the next slide, we are going to see which are the top 10 cloud service providers. Now, why only top 10 cloud providers? The reason is there are a lot of cloud service providers in the market. So what in the next slide, we are going to see which are the top 10 cloud service providers we have. So when we see there are top 10 cloud providers, in top 10 we have Amazon Web Services, which we also called as AWS. We have Microsoft Azure, we have Google Cloud, we have Alibaba Cloud, we have IBM Cloud, Oracle Cloud, Salesforce, VMware, Rackspace, and Digital Reality. So these are the top 10 cloud service providers, and the same you can see it on this slide as well. Now again, one question comes up in the mind, then why are so many of cloud service providers in the market? What is the requirement of having such a lot or so many cloud service providers? Now to answer this question, I will go to the next slide where we are going to see what is the market size of a cloud computing. So if you can see the cloud computing market, this entire depicts everything. Now if you can see from the chart, in the year of 2018, the size of the cloud computing industry was $272 billion. And from 2018 to 2023, the cloud computing industry growth is projected to average 18% per year. So if you see, it is projected that by 2023, it is going to reach $623 billion. When you have such a huge market, obviously there will be lot of cloud service providers ready to give the cloud services. Okay, so this is what the market size which is there for the cloud computing. Now since you have understood that a cloud computing has a lot of scope, then again you might have a question that why are we studying Google Cloud Platform today? Why only GCP when there are a lot of cloud service providers available in the market? Now to answer this question, let me go to the next slide. Now I hope that in your screen, you might have seen some or more of the icons that you can see. In that you have Google Mail, you call it Gmail, Google Drive, YouTube, Google Maps, Google News, Google Docs, Google Photos, Google Meet, Google Hangout. Now I hope all of us are from morning to evening, at least all of us might be using 2 or 3 applications daily amongst the one that is listed. I hope that during the COVID-19, that is current phase, we might be seeing a lot of videos on the YouTube. Now that videos may be for various reasons. We might want to know what is happening in the world, what is there happening nearby us. Apart from that, so that is the reason. Apart from that, you might like to see the videos, we might like to see the music and everything, whatever you wanted. So I think YouTube is one which we use it every day. Now there is another app which we use every day, that is Google Mail. I'm sure that most of us do work from home. So there might be a lot of mail needs to be done on a everyday basis. So we are using a Google Mail. We have a Google Drive where we store our documents. We have a Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Photos, and everything. We use it, right? So these are all the applications that we use on a daily basis. And I do remember that there's also a very good app which Google has, is a Google search engine. Now I hope that even the 7th standard student, 8th standard student, or even 10th standard student, first thing that they do is they go to Google search and type. So they might have an assignments, they might have a projects. So anything questions do they have, they directly go to Google and there they just type it and entire information is available from them. I do even remember a fact that most of us do type www.google.com just to check whether you have an internet or not. Now, typing of google.com is not there to check whether you have a very good internet connection or do not have. But we have that faith that if we are able to see the home screen of google.com, then it means our internet is working up and fine. So that is trust that we all of us have. And if I say that the Google Cloud Platform is a suite of cloud computing services that run on the same infrastructure that Google uses internally for its end user products such as Google Search, Gmail, Google Photos, and YouTube, then how will you feel? Obviously, then we will definitely trust Google Cloud. So, and I do not think that even in last 5 years, even for a second, Google server has even come down. So this is a faith that we have with Google Cloud. So obviously, we all of us do trust Google Cloud, and there the Google Cloud Platform is there for you. Okay, so I hope all of you might be convinced now that why are we studying Google Cloud Platform today. Okay, so now once we have convinced the Google Cloud Platform, let us go to the next slide where we are going to see what are the core domains of Google Cloud Platform, and then we are going to see each one of them in detail. Okay, so these are the three main, or you can say three core domains which a Google Cloud Platform provides. That is the compute, storage, and the networking. Okay, so in the next slide, we are going to see each one of them in detail, along with what services do each one of them provide. Okay, so let me just go to the next slide. Okay, so in the compute domain of the Google Cloud Platform, there are total of 4 different services which your compute domain provides. So these 4 services are Compute Engine, App Engine, Kubernetes Engine, and the Cloud Functions. So now we are going to see each one of them in detail. Now first one is the Compute Engine. Compute Engine is nothing but a raw server. So what if we do when we buy a new server? Simple answer. So whenever we buy a new server, first thing we do is we install an operating system. Now this operating system can be of any of your choice. Maybe it may be a Windows or it may be a Linux. So depending on your choice of operating system, we install an operating system, and then after that we select the configuration. Now the configuration can be based on your requirement. So configuration can be how much RAM we need, how much CPU we need, or any other criteria. Now once you have selected your configuration, then we upload, or then we deploy our code and we start running. Okay, so this is what we do with the Compute Engine. Now let us take our attention to the next type of services which your compute domain provides, is the App Engine. App Engine is the extension of the Compute Engine. So what the App Engine does is, App Engine is used whenever you have an application and you want to deploy the application on the cloud, then you use the App Engine offering by Google. Okay, so there you make use of an App Engine. So here you do not have to look at the installation of the software. In case of an App Engine, you just upload your application on the server. That's it, and everything will happen automatically. You do not need to worry about anything. So your website will be deployed automatically, and you do not have to configure anything. So this is an advantage which your App Engine provides. Now to compare a Compute Engine and App Engine, exactly what differs is, I will explain the same with the help of an example. Suppose you want to deploy a PHP application. Okay. So now if you have a PHP application, what is the first thing you do? So when it comes to compute engine, as I said, you will have to first install the Apache server. After you install an Apache server, then you will have to install PHP server. After you install PHP server, suppose if your application requires MySQL, then you will have to install PHP MySQL extension. So this is all the prerequisites that you need to do it. But on the other side, with the App Engine, you do not have to configure anything. You just upload and you will be given a link. And on that link, your website will be deployed automatically. Okay. So I hope you might have understood a difference between a compute engine and the App Engine service of a compute domain. Next, third is the important amongst all is called as Kubernetes engine. So let me explain a Kubernetes engine. Kubernetes engine is the most important service of all. So here, if you have any application that is running inside a container, you can use Kubernetes engine for that. Now, again, you might have a question, what is container? So I'll explain in a very easy term. Container are a solution to the problem of how to get this software to run reliably when you move from one computing environment to another. So when I say you're moving from one computing environment to the another, this could be from a developer's laptop to the testing environment and then to the production. So it can be anywhere. So when such problem arises, when this supporting software environment is not identical, this problem is solved by your container. Now I hope you might have understood something, but then I'll give you one example that will make it very clear. Suppose you are going to test using Python 2.7, and then it is going to run on Python 3 in the production, and say something weird has happened. Or I'll give another example. Or you have running your test on Fedora OS, and production is on Red Hat, and something weird happened. So what will be the problem? So if you do if you use a container, it will solve the problem. So by containerizing the application, the differences in the OS distribution, the difference in the underlying infrastructure are abstracted. So a container consists of an entire runtime environment. So when I say entire runtime environment, it includes your application plus all its dependencies, its libraries, and all the configuration files that is needed, so that it bundled all of them into one package. Okay, so this is what your Kubernetes engine is for. Now let us see the fourth functions the fourth service of your compute domain is the cloud functions. Now cloud functions is again a platform as a service, but here you do not host any application, but you just use it for backend processing. So if you're not using it for hosting an application, then what are you using it for? Now to answer this question, again let me explain it with the help of an example. So for example, your application is a video processing application. Okay, let us take an example that your application is a video processing application. Now a user is uploading any video. So when a user uploads a video where the video is processed first and it is converted into different format, and then it is stored on the cloud. Okay, so first a website is hosted. On that you host the website. On that website you upload a video, but processing of that video can be done with the help of a cloud functions. So whatever processing you have for your video is done by your cloud functions. So with cloud functions, you just give the code for backend processing, and that's it. Your problem is solved. So these are the 4 different services of a compute domain. That is the compute engine, the app engine, Kubernetes engine, and the cloud functions. Now, once we have seen the compute domain in Google Cloud Platform, let us see to the next domain is the storage domain. So the storage domain in Google Cloud Platform has 5 different services. They are data store service, storage service, Bigtable, SQL, and Spanner. Okay, so these are the 5 services of a storage domain. Now let us again understand each one of them in detail. Starting with the first is a data store service. Now data store service is a NoSQL kind of a service. So in which you solve NoSQL kind of a data. Now when I say NoSQL kind of a data, it means it is an unstructured data. So whenever your application wants a storage location which is for unstructured kind of a data, you would probably store it in a data store. Okay. Second service is the storage. Storage service is used for storage. So it is a file system which is offered by a Google Cloud. So here you can upload any kind of a file. Now when I say any kind of a file, it means it can be a video, it can be an audio, it can be a PPT, or any other file that can be uploaded for storage. Okay. Now let us go to the third services of your storage, that is a Bigtable. Now when I say a Bigtable, data store and Bigtable, they are both a NoSQL kind of a data. They both are used for an unstructured kind of a data. But with Bigtable, you use it with the Hadoop, or you use it with any big data applications. Okay, so this is what it is made use of. Now when I say a Bigtable, it is the same database that powers many of the Google Cloud services, such as your Google Search, your Google Analytics, Google Maps, and your Gmail. So all of this are the same database that is used, and that is nothing but a Bigtable. Okay, so you might know what is the power of a Bigtable. The fourth service of a storage domain is the SQL. Now SQL is used for structured data. So whenever your application is dealing with database which is structured in nature, you make use of an SQL. And the last service, that is a Spanner. Now Spanner is similar to an SQL, but again you'll have a question. Then if it is similar, then what is the difference? Now the difference between an SQL and a Spanner is the scalability. So SQL cannot be scaled horizontally. So it is only a Spanner that can be scaled horizontally. So for example, if you have an application, and if your application requires a scaling as a part of its use, that is the amount of usage, whether it is going to be heavily used, or whether it is going to be a lightly used, or whether the amount of users are going to come or more to your website, or whether the number of amount of users are going to come to your website like less in number, when there is an uncertainty, at that kind you're going to make use of a Spanner. Okay, so I hope you have understood the difference between an SQL and Spanner. So these are the 5 services which a storage domain provides: data store, storage, Bigtable, SQL, and a Spanner. Now once we are done with this, the next slide we are going to see the third core domain that we have discussed or have seen earlier, that is a networking domain in detail. Now the networking domain in Google Cloud Platform consists of 3 main services: the VPC network, network services, and an interconnect. Now let us see again the different services in detail. First one, VPC network. So a VPC is nothing but a virtual private cloud. So virtual private cloud network is the logical division of the public cloud architecture to support the private cloud computing. So Google VPC network is a private network that you set up in Google data center with firewall rules and specific type of gateway. So sometimes it happens that you may have a requirement of say a larger network, then you want to divide it into subnets, and then you want to make your instance to use that within that network. So VPC plays a very important role. Okay, so virtual private cloud is actually used if you want to make use of say private cloud inside a public network. So that is a use of a VPC network. Second kind of a service is the network services. Network services includes your DNS for naming service. So when I say DNS, it is for routing of domain name to an IP addresses. So DNS enables any instances when they are running to use host name instead of the IP address to talk to each other. So that DNS service of your network services enables this service with which the instance can communicate with the help of the host name instead of specifying the IP addresses. Okay. And the third and the final services in the networking domain is the interconnect service. Now interconnect service is used whenever you want to connect the on-premise network to the Google Cloud Platform. So what your interconnect service does is it will create a VPN, that is a virtual private network between the on-premises network and the Google Cloud. So this is what your networking this is what your interconnect services offer to you. Okay. So once we have seen all these services in detail, let me take you to the next slide where we are going to actually compare the Google Cloud with a very popular Amazon Web Services. Now, before I start with this, I think I have heard various questions, or I think most of us might have a question that which cloud provider or from which cloud we need to select. Which cloud service we need to select. Either we are supposed to go with an Amazon Web Services or should we go with Google Cloud Platform? I hope most of you still might have the same questions. Now to solve this, let me go to the next slide where we are going to compare the AWS within Google Cloud Platform and let us see which one is better and which ones to select. So let me start my comparison by seeing the market share. Now, as per the Canalys Cloud Channel Analysis, these are what has analysis that has come into picture. Now, if I compare in terms of market share, AWS has the maximum market share of 32.4%. As you can see it, right? But at the same time, when you compare the market share of Google Cloud, it is 6%. So obviously, in terms of market share, my AWS is a clear winner. Also, if you see in terms of revenue, AWS has generated revenue in Q4 of 2019 of $9.8 billion, while your Google Cloud has only generated $1.8 billion. But do not stop here. Check the last column on the annual growth. If growth is concerned, AWS has a growth of 33.2%, while a Google Cloud has a growth of 67.6%. So obviously, in terms of annual growth, obviously Google Cloud is the winner. But if you see in terms of the market share and the revenue generation, AWS is the winner. Okay, so let us go to the next slide where we are going to compare my Google Cloud with AWS in terms of the pricing. On pricing terms, which one is better? Okay, so in terms of pricing, Google Cloud Platform again is a clear winner. Now let me explain this. Now if you have seen from this, as you can see in the image, a 2 CPU with an 8 GB RAM instance for a Google Cloud Platform is costing you $50 per month. On the other side, your Amazon Web Services is costing you $69 per month. So obviously, if I compare my Google Cloud Platform with an AWS, obviously Google Cloud is a winner because with Google Cloud Platform, you are saving approximately 25% on the same instance selected. And if I take my graph further, if you just see it for 3 months, that is 36 months, you can see that there is a total savings of 49%, which is very, very huge. So obviously, in terms of pricing comparison, Google Cloud is the clear winner. Let us not stop our comparison here. Let us go to the next slide, where we are going to compare a Google Cloud and an AWS in terms of machine type. Now, when I compare my Google Cloud and AWS in machine type, there are few things needs to be considered. Now, if we talk about the scope of the customization of the instances, the Google Cloud Platform wins the category because it provides you with a wide range of customization for any instance. On the other side, the amount of customization available on AWS is minimum. So if customization is concerned, Google Cloud Platform is the winner. But do not stop here. If I compare in terms of what is the maximum instance size it provides, if you can see, AWS is the winner because an AWS gives you a biggest instance which is 128 CPU with 2 TB of RAM. On the other side, my Google Cloud Platform has only 96 CPU with 1.4 TB of RAM. So if I compare in terms of machine type, obviously the Amazon Web Service or the AWS is the winner. Let us go to the next slide, where we are going to compare the Google Cloud and an AWS in terms of regions and zones. Now, in terms of regions and zones, AWS has total of 24 regions, while your GCP has 23 regions. When we compare it with the zones, your AWS has 76 zones, while GCP has 70 zones. And if I compare in the terms of countries, AWS has 245 countries, while GCP is spread across 200 countries. So obviously, in terms of regions and zones, the winner is AWS. But I hope still some of you might have a question that, but what is region and what is zones? Let me give you and let me explain you. A region is nothing but a local geographical area, which consists of one or more zones. So a local geographical area is nothing but a region, and each region might have one or more zones. So what is zones? Zone is the one or more data center that is located within a region. So when I have one or more data center that is located within a region, that is called as zones. And whenever I speak about a data center, the data center has to be a fault tolerant. Now, what is fault tolerant? As I said in my previous slide, fault tolerant, it means one that has minimum downtime, right? So zones is something which has one or more data center which is located within a region. So in AWS, we call it as an availability zone. In terms of GCP, we call it as a zones. So again, in this case, the winner is a GCP, as AWS has total of 24 regions, 3 announced regions. Okay, so it is 24 regions plus there are 3 announced regions with 76 zones and 245 countries. On the other side, your GCP has 23 regions, 70 zones with 200 countries. So obviously, when we compare, AWS is a winner. Let us go to the next slide, where we are going to compare in terms of free tier. Now, this is very interesting for most of us. Let us see that. So in terms of free trial, both your Google Cloud Platform and the AWS gives you 12 months of free trial period. It means for 12 months, you can use their services for free. Okay, but there is one advantage which your Google has. Amazon has different pricing for different product usage, but Google also gives you $300 worth credit. Just remember, Apart from a free tier, it gives you $300 worth credit that you can use it to explore the other services, okay, which our AWS does not provide. So it gives you $300 worth credit that you can use it for an year to explore the various services. So if I compare in terms of a free tier, my clear winner is a Google Cloud. So a Google Cloud also has a very interesting feature that is called as a free tier, in which it has no time limit. So there are some small instances which you can always use it for free. Maybe say f1.micro instance. So these are the services which is always there for free, and that costs very less for more than an years. So that is what you have it. Now, if you want to know which the other service or in free tier, what it is included and what it is not included, for that I have mentioned a link that you can see it in your slide, that you can definitely see, and then you can go to that link and you can see what is covered in the free tier that you can always use for free. Okay, so this was the comparison based on free tier services. So let me conclude the comparison by saying that both your Google Cloud and AWS, they both are very good platform, but before deciding which one to select, you select which type of feature organization needs, and based on that, your feature that you select, how much you want to pay for them. Is it justified to pay that much for that services? Plus, remember that the right service cloud provider will help you to achieve your business goal by enhancing the functioning of your organization. So still, if you are confused that whether to go with Google Cloud or whether to go with an AWS, we have seen a comparison, but still your Google Cloud and your Amazon Cloud gives you a calculator, which is called as an Amazon pricing calculator and Google Cloud calculator, where you can see which configuration gives you the best value in terms of the flexibility, in terms of scalability, and in terms of cost. Okay, so if you still want to compare, you have a calculator available and you can see by giving the requirements. So that is what is the end of my presentation. This is the references that I have used. Now, before I end my presentation, let me show you a video of 2 minutes video regarding how corporates are making a use of a Google Cloud platform. So in the next slide, we are going to see a video of a Coca-Cola, which is a reputed brand, which is making a use of a Google Cloud platform. So we will see that video, and once that video is over, if you have any questions, I'll solve that questions. So I'm going to have a question answer session after we see a 2 minutes video. So
we wanted to make this marketing campaign for Coca-Cola something that every single person in this world, no matter who you are, could participate in the World Cup experience. Submit your photo, you can be on the pitch at the opening ceremony of the World Cup.
We're talking about 3.5 million images from over 200 countries, different formats, different users, different sources.
Fans could actually find their photo to know, okay, I was here on the flag in the opening of the World Cup.
It was a gigantic scale. The agency that was creating the photo mosaic printed in fabric, we recreated the equivalent digitally. We did not have time to set up an infrastructure and set up the servers and configure the machines. By using Google Cloud Platform, we went straight into building on top of it. Without that, my first deliverable would be impossible.
You have to predict what the loads are going to be. There's a lot of uncertainty. When you look at a cloud provider like Google, the opportunity there is for auto-scaling. You don't have to worry about disaster recovery. You don't have to worry about backup because it's provided to you as a service.
We wanted to send everyone that had an image in that flag a notification in the very moment the flag was opened physically in the field. We would have a lot of people doing that simultaneously. They're not taking turns to use it. So we were monitoring the transmission on TV and waiting. I remember clearly seeing these spikes and just hoping, please, please scale up, scale up. And it did.
Fundamentally, it gets down to one thing, and it's one word. It's trust. The same infrastructure that powers the Google search engine and search experience is what's powering the cloud that Coca-Cola is running on.
The biggest digital marketing initiative
to participate is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Okay, I got a question. AWS or GCP, which one is beginner friendly? I will answer this question that AWS, when you are going to start with, AWS is the one that has already been, that is the one was there in the market. It is a leader in the market which started its operation probably in 2006. On the other side, your GCP became started in 2011. So when we compare, it was the one a stable version that has started earlier. So if you want to start for a beginner, I'll suggest AWS will be easy for you. Google Cloud Platform also is not that difficult, but if you ask which one is beginner friendly, then yes, I'll say AWS. Okay. What are S3 buckets in AWS? Okay. So the question is, what are S3 buckets in AWS? Now, when I say S3, S3 is a simple storage services which your Amazon Web Services provide. So in that, what we do is, you can think it like a folder. So what we do, when we create a folder, we upload the documents on top of it, on that. Similarly, your your Amazon Web Services gives you a service of bucket. In that bucket, you put your contents, and that can be accessible or that can be available all the time. So now, again, when we speak of a bucket, it's a multiple time. So in that, if you want to access it frequently, you make uses of Amazon S3 bucket. And if it's going to be preserved for a longer time, you also have a service which is called as an Amazon Glacier. So in Amazon Glacier, you offer the same services for the storage, but the cost that you have to spend on it is lesser. Which one is secured? Okay, so coming back. Okay, so coming back to which one is secured. Now, when we speak about the security is concerned, they both are secured because they have been taken by the cloud service provider. So when you have a cloud service provider like Amazon, you think that it is a secure, but still there are a lot of research going on the security of the cloud. It gives us an idea that how much secure a cloud would be. But then when we speak about the security of a biggest player, that is an Amazon and Google Cloud, definitely we do trust that. And that is the reason we definitely make use of the Google services or the Amazon services. So yes, we do trust them. Google, I'm beginner on Google. Which course should I start from to get a good understanding of cloud computing? Okay, so if you want to start and if you want to make sure to understand the cloud computing, I'll suggest you just go through the basics. Let us start with what is cloud. Then you move towards a concept of virtualization. Try to understand the concept of virtualization. What does the cloud offers to you? After that, go ahead to one stage. Then you just go and try to access various services of the cloud. And then you start exploring each and other services. And that is how you're going to gain an experience in the cloud. Now, when I say cloud, it's very wide. So there are a lot of services and a lot of things needs to be understood in that. But I suggest you need to go step by step so that you start understanding. And I'm sure once you start gaining an interest, you'll definitely go ahead and will try to explore some more services.